Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage, they're about those elim points, getting into an early game engagement against Hootie. This is not looking good for the opponents.
Yeah, definitely not. You can see Benji Fishy takes a huge hit there, but it doesn't matter because Fex goes down. Benji is going to pick it up and get the 50 shield from the Siphon, but Mr. Savage has no shield left, but it's now a 2v1, and just like that, Hottie is going to have to go on the defensive, but it isn't enough. Benji Fishy scrapes by and ends up taking him out. Good looks on these two. One elim each. Let's see if they can pop off a little bit further into the mid game. Those placement points, they're definitely going to be in contention for top 5, top 3 even.
Absolutely, but even Nana getting into a little bit of trouble here, is above Storm Surge, but is getting focused by a majority of these players who are in the Coliseum. Actually goes down, leaving his duo to play as a solo now. But if that was Thomas, you know, he did make that clutch up as a solo, securing quite a bit of points. So we'll have to see if this player can do the same. I also see that Save It and Leche have made a nice little box there on the Coliseum. I don't know how they got there from, you know, their vehicle that they had down below cruising at top speeds, but
yeah, him and Vettel, again, another duo that really not popping off the same way we saw yesterday. You know, you're going from, oh, and Slicks just hits the shot on Milan. Milan had absolutely no idea that Slicks was going to be there and that he was going to just get absolutely taken out. But that's the first elimination for Slicks. So good on him for that one. But, you know, again, you've got like 53 people in this lobby still, right? And it's technically anyone's game. We're talking a lot about how there's really nobody that's popped off with 10 limbs, but I don't know if people are going to get 10 limbs.
Be looking to control the high ground while there's just so much chaos down below. Also, you have to be careful because that Coliseum, that big wall you have is unbreakable. So if you're sticking low ground on one side of this Coliseum and it pulls completely to the other side, you're gonna have to go above, you're gonna have to get around it. So these players have to be aware of their surroundings. They have to be ready to rotate and thinking in the worst situation possible. But Leche doing a good job right now of just looking around, trying to find any eliminations possible. Good amount above Storm Surge. However, these elims are very big. We saw how Noah and Vidil were able to secure them even with the high ground, and now we have to see if Savid and Leche can do the same.
Yeah, and with nobody really contesting them at this point, if they play this well, if they play this properly, this could be a huge game for them. It's their high ground to lose at this point. You can see they have all of the bouncers. They can disengage, rotate over very quickly if they need to. Leche looking to get some more players knocked, limbed, anything so that he can stay above the Storm Surge. You can see it popping off there. A lot of players getting hit by it. Leche, though, in a great position on high ground. Not only does he have all those floppers that he can use in case he gets tagged up, which he chooses to do so there before he goes into his next engagement, but he also has a decent amount of mats and shield and everything that he really needs to stay healthy. Save It looking good as well. These guys tarping out over the high ground and just raining the shots down on their opponents.
Absolutely. Mr. Savage is also quite low, though. Benji Fishy is alive, helping him out. 3 eliminations on Benji, 2 on Savage. Does have the flopper and splashes, and just like Savid was using them on the high ground, that you want to make use of those floppers for the late game because there's actually a lot of heal-offs now in this meta, but Benji actually gets boxed. The Benji Fishy getting turned into a fish, and oh no, gets knocked down, leaving Mr. Savage alone with 2 eliminations and not a lot of HP to continue out this end game as a solo.
So unfortunate there for Benji. I just think he just wasn't fully aware that there were that many players targeting him at any given time. Unfortunately, Savage kind of got a little bit ahead of him and opted to leave him there, but he's going to have to try to play for placement now. Leche still just absolutely raining shots down. Hasn't picked up another elim yet. There's another one on Save It though. So it looks like they're doing a little bit of work, but if they want to place higher, if they want a chance in this tournament, they're going to have to get some more elims. They're being worth 5 points each. These eliminations that they pick up here could be absolutely massive in terms of their placement.
Absolutely, but there also is some big names down below. I see Cammy tarping out ahead of zone here alongside his duo. They have to be careful from Leche and Save It though, that have so much pressure being laid down from above. Amplify actually goes down now, leaving Leche and Save It to just rain down from above, getting one elimination. Now a total of 5. Not too many players left here. This is the last moment. This is where it matters, but there's actually a solo going around in the zone. Maybe gonna try and make a high ground play.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how they play this next little part, because you can see that there are people trying to contest them right now. Matzo down at the bottom with Raffla just absolutely Raffla getting wrecked right now. He's out in the storm. He's gonna have to tarp over, and he does. You can see the mid ground, the rockets coming out. Centric Raxo trying again to get up into that mid ground to possibly contest Save It and Leche. They do not want to go down without a fight.
Not at all. Now Save It and Leche on the high ground. Raxo Cammy on the mid ground, but there is that solo in a 1v2 situation here. Will he be able to come out on top against Cammy and Raxo? They're all so low. Matsui actually gets out of that situation. Now is a solo against Save It, while Leche is playing the high ground. Does have 2 floppers, can play the heal game if needed, but Save It manages to clean it up, gets that elimination, and Leche and absolutely, he does have a harpoon, which can come in very handy though, especially playing as a solo, where it's going to be hard to get refreshes in the late game. But the problem is going to be getting to the late game, as he has a duo close to him. They know he's a solo. He's rocking that ninja skin. He's trying to make it through, make it alive, but now the lobby is just focusing him. Rain, bullets everywhere. He's got to build as much as possible here, but is unable to stay alive. Savage and Benji go down in the mid game now.
Yeah, and you can see Trip and Flick just getting absolutely bodied. It seems like everybody is focusing there right now. Leche actually ends up going down. So he's going to have to try to be picked up, but I don't really know if Save It is going to have the opportunity to. If he does, it's going to be an absolute beauty of a play, because he's having to play very defensively right now. You can see him trying to take the flopper there, using the minis to try and get healed up just a little bit. But unfortunately for him, he's not going to have time to pick up Leche. He falls, so he is now officially on his own as well.
Absolutely, but this is the moment here. Zone is about to close, and half actually pulls close to the Pleasant Park at the northeast side. And there you can see at the bottom right, the mini map. This is not looking good for a majority of players who are on the south side of the zone here, close to the bridge. We can see Storm Surge is also taking those lightning bolts from above, striking down onto its prey here. So this is just where the action begins. Players have to play extra aggressive here if they're getting ticked and don't have the heals to tank Storm Surge. So they might be looking for angles, looking for any shots they can get to survive this. But we can see that Tayson and Thomas also beginning to rotate. Slicks, like you were talking about here, is actually playing it out here as a solo, but no, gets eliminated.
No.
And there it is. The consistency is going downhill for Rifla, and Slicks have just been taken out.
I think this next leaderboard, when we look at it after this game, is going to be shook up in a major way. So many of the top teams have already been eliminated, just completely taking away their chance of getting any more points. So anybody that was anywhere within the top 20 can really start to move up the leaderboard at this point. You can see Stormy Right QT playing with Navi. They are trying to make the rotation. They have to stick very far to the left here to be safe, but you see Griff up at the top just raining down shots. They are not just griffing, they are griefing as well. Stormy says, I don't want any of that. Still taking tags though, and he is looking like he's not going to make it into this next rotation.
Not at all. Gets knocked down here, leaving it for his duo partner to play as a solo 7-tor from Navi, who is not in the best situation here. Manages to, well, not do anything, gets eliminated now, leaving Aqua and Stompy though in a great position here in the half and half. Left to see how Moving Zone decides to go, because if it pulls back towards that bridge from where all these players rotated, that's going to be great for Stompy and Aqua, as they have an amazing position here. However, if it does pull to the other side, it's going to make it difficult. I see Tayson there flying through the skies, and it looks like it did pull to the opposite side. So it's a Pleasant Park now, which is why we see all these players trying to rotate there. there early as the zone is now moving in. Save it as a solo. Will he be able to do it? He's getting lasered from every single angle possible and gets eliminated there. Great attempt, and just like you said, this leaderboard is going to be changing a lot.
Yeah, and I think he was able to place 24th there. So top 25 is the threshold for placement points. So he honestly did a really great job of just even securing a few more points for his duo. But Aqua and Stompy on high ground, that's where they're comfortable. That's where they like to play. So I don't believe they dropped down, but it's going to be interesting to see if they continue to hold height or if they go for more of mid-ground play. And you can see here at the top, we just got everybody tarping in at this point. Some guys looking super healthy, others not so much. And it looks like Aqua and Stompy have chosen to drop down to that mid, possibly to get a couple more eliminations.
That's what we've been seeing, though. They check to see if they can get the high ground in half and half, but if they don't pull moving zone, not only the duo that was on the high ground where the moving zone pulls to is just going to maintain it. And that's what Griff and Knifer are doing right now. They have the high ground. They pulled it from first moving, and now they just have to keep up that consistency, try and find eliminations with the AR. But there's just so much chaos down below. These teams are trying to rotate. Actually, Thomas HD goes down in the low ground now. Pink and there's just so much going on. There's just so much going on, Pookie. There's so much action.
Many things.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
There's just a cluster of names at this point, Tocata, but you can see here, Cammy goes down, falls to Griff. They are taking a page out of the book of Noah and Vidil, trying to get all of the eliminations that they possibly can from high ground. This is what I like to see. This is the aggression on high ground that is not only going to get you placement, but it's going to win you games. You're going to net so many points from the eliminations. They're sitting on 20 points from elims so far. They knock another one. Decryptos falls to them as well. These guys are absolutely dictating the pace of this game, Tocata.
Exactly. Now, like you said, with 5 eliminations, it's looking great right now, seeing that there's still so many players alive on the low ground. If they're able to secure some more eliminations here, it could be the first duo to get a double-digit elim game here in the grand finals. But there's so many teams down below that a lot of these players are going to be running low on mats now. They're going to have to play it through old tarps. They're going to have to snagger their way around this low ground, try and find elims, try and find refreshes to have those materials that allow them to continue tarping out. But Knifer and Griff are just applying so much pressure from above, getting another elimination now, putting their elim count up to 6.
Yeah, and there's 10 other opponents that they have the ability to eliminate right now. So with the 6 eliminations, they're only 4 off from those double digits. Will this be the first team to make the double digit happen? We're going to have to see. You can see Flecken and Diablo down at the bottom, just trying to get a bearing on everything. Hen goes down as well. Vex is trying to pick everything up here and refresh. Hottie says, follow me. We're going to try and go on to Snagged and Steelix. Hottie takes a ton of damage. Vex takes a ton of damage and goes down. Then we have Michael coming in, trying to third party. His duo has been eliminated. And again, from above, Knifer and Griff just controlling this game.
Absolutely, and all these players down below now, a lot of them do not have a lot of HP here. They tanked a bit of Storm, but now the chaos on Veils, Steelix, tanking Storm with floppers, but Diablo's not going to let that happen, applying pressure to Steelix here. Steelix is building. Diablo realizes, though, he has to get to zone or he's going to be eliminated, but Griff and Knifer on the high ground are just raining it down from above.
For the grand finals in EU. And look at that. It was like putting all the names in a bowl and just shaking them all around, because everything has changed. Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage, Tayson and Thomas are still there, but they've dropped out of the top 5.